Hey cats, it's your midsole master here, Eddbud. Today I'm looking at my 10 most anticipated running shoes for 2023. Welcome to the channel, people. If you haven't done so yet, hit that subscribe button, help us out to get to 1 million subscribers. We're quite a way off that yet, but you know, we'll get there. Just need some time. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Also, click the bell for notifications and give this video a thumbs up, like it really does help us out. Today I'm looking at my 10 most anticipated running shoes for 2023. Shoes that I really want to pick up for review on the channel. There's some really promising daily shoes here and ultralight racers. Let's get straight into it with number 10. So looking at the KINVARA Pro from Saucony first. Now I understand that this shoe is causing a bit of controversy. There's lots of users of the KINVARA and they're a bit upset, I guess, that Saucony are making this big change for their favourite model. Looks like we got a majority PEGASUS midsole and a plate here, though it appears it's a less aggressive shoe for training purposes. Could be like a viable alternative to the ENDORPHIN Speed if that doesn't work for you. I would suggest if that doesn't work for you, do you really want more of a stack? There's probably other shoes out there that already do that. Could be a good PRIMEX alternative though, and you know how much I love that shoe. Perhaps a slightly more durable version of a PEGASUS based training shoe here for longer distances. Either way, quite excited by the Saucony KINVARA Pro. Hope we get some more information on that one soon. At number 9 is the ALPHAFLY NEXY 3 from Nike. Now, there's not an awful lot known about this shoe other than a few pictures that have appeared online with some athletes actually testing out sort of prototype versions of it. It looks like they've taped over where the AirPods are in that sort of mid to forefoot section there, to try and make it blend in with all the other normal shoes, because if you've run in an ALPHAFLY shoe you'll know that it is quite a strange sensation. I am speculating a little bit here, though it does look like there are some upper changes. I'm not absolutely dead set on the upper on the ALPHAFLY NEXY 2. Just feels a bit like a cage. A little bit of sculpting to the midsole here as well. You know Nike are very keen to do that on pretty much all their models up to this point. Just shaving off little bits of foam here and there, trying to lower the weight of the shoe. I guess it's to try and make it a little bit more of a standout model to some of the others that other manufacturers have put out, just to give it a unique selling point. ALPHAFLY is always an exciting shoe to try out, and when I've done polls in the past, viewers are really into that shoe. Really does help out in the latter stages of a marathon. So I think the ALPHAFLY 3, whenever it drops, is probably one I'm quite excited to pick up and try out for review. I'm just intrigued by that amalgamation of Nike technologies in one shoe. At position number 8, we've got the PEGASUS 40 from Nike. I love that PEGASUS model, and it's almost always one that I recommend to people to try out, perhaps if they're new to running and they're after a reliable daily shoe that can do most things pretty well. We do have React foam once again in the PEGASUS model this year, though I'm not too upset about that. I think it's a very reliable, very durable foam. It did seem to be a little bit softer in terms of the PEGASUS 39 version. Let's hope it stays with that same sort of softness level. It was just the right balance for me when you include those air zoom units within the midsole. The PEGASUS is always a cool one to try out. There's that heritage there and the technologies that we all love from Nike. It's pretty much a surefire cop on release when it does come out. There's some really nice looking versions dropping too. That Prefontaine looking beast is high on my list. So React cushion once again, but don't be too dismayed. I'm pretty excited about the PEGASUS 40 releasing this year. Now, a bit of an odd one in position 7. It's a shoe that might never actually get a release over here in the UK or in Europe. I'm talking about the ASICS S4. This shoe does seem to have released, or there's some partial release over in Asia. I think the S4 stands for sub 4 apparently, meaning that it could be used by runners to try and achieve a sub 4 hour marathon. It does feature a number of pieces of tech that we've seen in other ASICS shoes recently, namely that Metaspeed Sky and the Metaspeed Edge. We've got Flight Foam Turbo, though I believe there's a Flight Foam base to the shoe and a little more outsole rubber in the heel. That is something that a lot of runners will be really keen to see. Just extending back that rubber, it should create a slightly more durable shoe over time. I have to say the grip on the Metaspeed Sky Plus when I tested it out was absolutely phenomenal. So if we've got that in the S4, then it's definitely a shoe I want to test. Maybe an Asian viewer might be able to hook me up with a pair. I'm not sure if they will do my size though. Sometimes in the Asian sizing it only goes to a certain point. They won't have a US 12 or a UK 11. ASICS, maybe if you're listening, you know, help your boy out. Send me an S4, I'd love to try it. At position 6, it's the trusty Old Faithful Energy series here from Reebok. The FLOATRIDE Energy 5 is set to drop very soon. One of the best low-cost daily running shoes you can get. The Energy line never ever disappoints, and I don't see that being any different this year. This one's set to launch very, very soon. I really like that TPU FLOATRIDE Energy material they put into the midsole. It's just a nice, durable and very good value shoe. Does lots of things well, a bit like the Pegasus, I suppose. I see more of the same value here. I don't see that it's going to be, you know, a huge departure from what we've had before, but that's okay. If it ain't broke, you don't need to fix it. It does look like we've got some sort of torsion system in the middle of that midsole, which is visible on that outsole area there. So perhaps a slight nod to stability. Always amazed that people suggest that the FLOATRIDE Energy foam is a bit like too cushioned or soft. Feels just right to me. Roll on that Reebok release. Before we get into the top 5, if you're enjoying the video today, do please give us a thumbs up like, or perhaps drop us a super thanks to help support the channel on a more ad hoc basis. You can help support the channel too by picking up some merch. I'm wearing the Midsole Now hoodie today. When you walk down the street, people will know that you follow that Eddbud. Okay, position number 5 now, and this shoe might not be everybody's cup of tea, but it's certainly exciting me. That is the Nike VOMERO 17, which is set to drop in 2023. Where I've been looking at images of this shoe, it does seem like we've got a combination of foams here, although the more recent images are a little different to some of the older ones that we've seen. That had a very prominent ZOOMX section closest to the foot, and then perhaps SRO2, or it could be something else I suppose, underneath that. SRO2, really soft foam, and it does seem like one that Nike are using more and more these days. Certainly I'm anticipating a slightly less squashy ride than when you compare it up against something like the Invincible Run 3. Just a bit more control, but still a forgiving nature from that ZOOMX foam. Does appear they borrowed the tongue there from the original Invincible Run, but the main reason I'm excited about this shoe is that it could be another decent implementation of ZOOMX within a Nike daily training shoe. Yeah, the race shoes have always been pretty good, but some of the daily sort of trainer type shoes have flattered to deceive. There's been a load of different misfires there. Well, they've tried to implement ZOOMX, it just hasn't quite worked out, just haven't lived up to the expectations. Aside from that VOMERO 16, I think the 17 could be a winner too. I hope that the VOMERO gets a bit more limelight this time around. I think when the 16 appeared, it was overshadowed a little bit by happenings around the world. People didn't pick it up and actually get to grips with the shoe and find out what it was good for. I found it to be a really great, reliable, consistent shoe. And look at the octopus-like suckers on the outsole here. Could be another excellent Nike outsole winner. I love me a good outsole. At position 4, we've got the Saucony ENDORPHIN Pro 4. The Pro 3 was a smashing shoe, and it's hard not to get excited about the 4th iteration of Saucony's marathon model for the non-elite and elite among us. Now reportedly there's going to be a mixture of 3 foams here, not just the Power Run HG stuff that we've seen in the ENDORPHIN Elite. I think the Elite is a bit of a stopgap between the Pro 3 and the Pro 4. I think the ENDORPHIN Pro model is certainly the sort of flagship one for Saucony. A little bit like the ENDORPHIN Pro Plus was like a stopgap between the ENDORPHIN Pro 2 and the 3. As I hear it, this shoe might not even drop in 2023, it could be even later, although we are seeing discounts already to the ENDORPHIN Pro 3, perhaps it could drop towards the end of the year. A lot of speculation about this one, how they're going to integrate those 3 foams. Need to get some more info and data on it, and when I do, I shall let you know. Exciting times though for Saucony. They're really sort of pushing the envelope a bit, pushing the boundaries just in different ways, and that's always an exciting thing. They're close certainly to Nike. If there's someone that's produced a shoe that is similar in terms of properties to the VAPORFLY, it's definitely that Endorphin Pro 3. At number 3, we've got the VAPORFLY NEXY 3 from Nike. I can't wait to get my hands on this shoe and actually see if it really is worth the hype. I think it's going to be out in a couple of weeks, right at the start of March, so I've saved back some Earth credits and sold lots of things just so I'm ready. The VAPORFLY has always got the best out of me in terms of racing and from a training perspective too. I can't wait to get out and test this one out over the half marathon distance over 2023. Now, there are some rumours that this could feature an even more compressive version of the PEGASUS ZOOMX foam that we know and love from the VAPORFLY and ALPHAFLY series. I'm taking that with a little bit of a pinch of salt. I don't think that foam softness, certainly with my recent durometer kind of investigations, equals performance and like that forgiving feel. I think sometimes softness can actually have a detrimental effect on your performance. I think it's certainly going to be a contender for sure though. People will want to know if the shoe's worth picking up. Is it still going to be a responsive shoe like we've enjoyed over the past few years with Nike's VAPORFLY model? Nevertheless, it's right up there in terms of some of the most anticipated shoe models for 2023 for me. Okay, so coming in at number 2 for me is the ADIZERO ADIOS 8 from Adidas. I love the ADIOS series, guys. The 6, the 7, I've enjoyed like the 4 and the 5 too. Just careful iterations over the last 4 or 5 years from the 3-stripe brand leave us with a shoe that is just very versatile. It can do lots of things for you. Light, cushion, propulsive, and makes for perhaps a great 10k race shoe and superb trainer. It looks like the ADIOS 8's got even more cushion there from that Light Strike Pro in the mid to forefoot area, and I hope we have a continuation of that superb grip that we've had on the outsole of ADIOS models recently. An absolute must cop from me later on in the year when it will launch. Could be one of the best low cost Adidas trainers for 2023. Okay, top of the tree now, position number 1. What's my most anticipated shoe? As I said earlier today, went out and run with Alan and with Kev. 20 miles on the books, which is great. Legs feeling a little bit fatigued, I suppose, but they're going to be after 20 miles. And the shoe I used for today was the ADIZERO PRIMEX STRUNG. Now, I know there's a new model of this launching later in 2023. It's an absolute must pick up. Does look like we've got a puck of PEGASUS type foam sandwiched between that super squashy Light Strike Pro. Now, if this new version is anything like the existing one, we'll be in for a hell of a shoe. It's one of the best running shoes I've ever used. No problems today with stability in the ADIZERO PRIMEX STRUNG. I hope they don't switch it up too much. We don't need major changes here, Adidas. Just subtle little implementations, little tweaks here and there could make for an absolute banger of a shoe. Perhaps that PEGASUS little puck there at the front is meant to act like some sort of air unit like we have in the ALPHAFLY. It's going to make it even more propulsive. I don't know. Can it be more propulsive? I've noticed when I turn up the pace wearing the ADIZERO PRIMEX STRUNG, I can absolutely blast out like 400 meter reps. It's insane. That shoe is just so magical, I suppose. When you really turn up the pace, you just can feel it's bouncing you forwards. I don't see Adidas making this one any higher. I don't think they'll go above that 50mm stack height. I think that's a good level there between sort of an amount of stability and the cushion. I just don't think they're going to max it out anymore. Strung version, my favourite in 2022, and I can see this second version perhaps being my favourite for 2023. What do you reckon of my selections today, people? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. Musical interlude time. One of my favourite albums ever is It's Alive by the Ramones. I urge you to perhaps get this one onto your iPod, or perhaps use some sort of streaming service or something to be able to listen to it on perhaps your speed sessions. Start from track 3, which is the Blitzkrieg Bop. Joey Ramone introduces the band and sort of says, "It's good to be back in England and it's good to see all of you again." Then you hear DD start off with a 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's just breakneck pace from then on. There's a little group of tracks like Blitzkrieg Bop, I Wanna Be Well, Glad to See You Go is just ridiculously good. Joey sort of growls the title of the track before they begin, and then of course the classic Gimme Gimme Shock Treatment. There's a little group of tracks there that kind of fall into each other with feedback in between. It's just magic, absolute magic. As live albums go, there's very little that can touch this one from the Ramones. It's alive. Thanks for tuning in, people. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you are really enjoying the channel content, please hit that subscribe button and click the bell below for notifications. Give this video a thumbs up, like, and share it with your running buddies. My name's Eddbud, and I'll be seeing you